If, since, how, because, only if, now, that, even though I've always got my wishbone. Yeah, to help me with this mission, go again, wow.
Good morning, Year 6. Today we're going to be looking at subordinate conjunctions and how they're used to create subordinate clauses. So let's get started. What is a subordinate clause? Is a subordinate clause a clause which is dependent upon the main clause in order to make sense? Is it a clause which is Santa Claus's son? Or is it a clause which typically starts with a conjunction? If you guessed A and C, you are correct. A subordinate clause is a clause which is dependent upon the main clause in order to make sense, and it typically starts with a conjunction. But what does the word subordinate mean? Well, it means lower in rank or not as important as. We have a little mnemonic here which we can use to help us recognize a subordinate conjunction. Subordinate conjunctions usually start a subordinate clause. So we've got I for if, S for since, A as, W when, A although, W while, A after, B before, U until, B because. And that's our mnemonic, I saw a wubub. Can you say it? Excellent, well done. So now I'd like you to use our mnemonic to help you recognize or remember some of our subordinating conjunctions. Pause the video here and write down as many as you can remember. Excellent. Did you remember them? If, since, as, when, although, while, after, before, until, because. So subordinate clauses can be placed at the start, middle or end of a sentence. They add more information to the main clause. So here's a simple sentence which contains only a main clause. John drove straight home from work. Now, if I wanted to add more information about why he drove home from work, I could say, as he wasn't feeling well. John drove straight home from work as he wasn't feeling well. There I've used my subordinate clause at the end of the sentence, but I know I can also use it at the beginning of my sentence. As he wasn't feeling well, John drove straight home from work. John, who wasn't feeling very well, drove straight home from work. Now in this sentence, we've used a relative clause, which is also a type of subordinate clause, which you'll remember when we recapped relative clauses. As it starts with a relative pronoun, we know it's given us a bit more information about the noun, John, in that sentence. It's very specific and it starts with our relative pronoun. So although, yes, it is a subordinate clause, we can be even more specific with that one and say it's a relative clause. Don't worry too much about that one for now, though. So stairs to success when spotting sentences with subordinate clauses. I'm super proud of myself. I managed to get all of that sentence out, even though it's got so much alliteration in there. 1, identify the main clause. 2, find the subordinating conjunction. 3, identify the subordinate clause. 4, remove the subordinate clause from the sentence and see if your sentence still makes sense without it. If it does, you've probably found the subordinate clause. Here are a few sentences on screen which contain only main clauses. I want you to think about the subordinating conjunctions, I saw a wubub, and use those to help you create subordinate clauses which make sense within the sentence. Now on screen, you'll see some more tasks for you to complete, which you'll also find in your packs. Don't worry if you haven't got your pack. It can be found on the school website, but it's also been shown on screen for you here. So complete the task by underlining the subordinate clause in each of the sentences below. Have fun learning and have a great day. Bye.